Hello Year 4, Miss Fowler here, coming to teach you your first online maths lesson. We're quite lucky in the fact that we've just started our new unit on multiplication, and hopefully you'll be able to see the big screen in front of you, which is our notebook, which you're used to in school, and I will be clicking through and doing our lesson just like normal. The best thing about online learning is that you can pause this video if you want time to think, whenever you want to pause and to answer the questions, and then you can unpause your teacher. So this is for both Stowe and Fairford class. So we have just started our 6 times table for our multiplication unit, and our WOLT today is to recall and use multiplication facts for the 6 times table. Stowe class, I know you've already done one lesson on this after building our 6 times table, so you should be experts on it. Fairford, this is our first after we've built it. So on to our next screen, I'd like you to show me a multiplication fact from the 6 times table. So you can draw this in the top of your exercise books. So I might take out 3 dice just there. So I'm showing 3 times 6, and then you can show me what the answer is. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds to have a go at that, and again pause the video if you'd like longer, but please show me a couple of ways to show a multiplication fact for that 6 times table. Okay, next part, multiplication. Now we know we're focusing on multiplication today, but what other words do you know that mean the same as multiply? Can you think of any? Again, you can pause at this point, or if not, the answers are under here. So there can be words like as much, by, equal groups or groups of, lots of, multiply, multiplied by, per, product of, or times. So any of those words mean the same as multiply. What is a multiple of 6 and what is it not? So can you remember any multiples of 6 already? Counting your 6 times table, 6, 12, I wonder if you can remember the rest. Okay, straight on to building. Now, we did this last lesson, which would have been the Thursday for Stowe or Friday for my class, and we built the 6 times table, and we used this as a different way to try and learn our 6 times table. So we'd have done this in different colours. So I'm going to grab a different colour. I'm going to start with my red, and 1 times 6, I know that's where I'm going to start, so 1 times 6 is 6, and I can pop my 6 on here. Now, we're going to be using the terms if I know, then I know, and because over here. So if I know 1 times 6, then I know 2 times 6, and I know this because I double my answer. So it's these facts of doubling over here. And I apologise because I'm having to write with my finger here. We know this because we double. And apologies if that doesn't quite look like an O. So we know we double. So 1 doubled is 2 here on the side, and 6 doubled will give me my answer of 12. So I know that 2 times 6 is 12, and I can build that on the bottom. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing again. If I know 2, I can double again and know 4. So I know 4 times 6. And again, I simply double my answer, 12 doubled, which I know 2 doubled is 4, and 10 doubled is 20. So again, I'm going straight over here for 24, and I'm missing out that number 3 at the moment. Final doubling fact from this one. If I know 4, I know 8. So 8 times 6, I can double my answer yet again. Double 24, double 4 gives me 8, double 20 gives me 40. So I can start building my table over here. Okay. I'm then going to change my colour, so I'm now going to be working in green. Other facts that we know. So I know 10 times 6. This is one of the facts that I know quite easily because I know my multiples of 10. I move them all one place value up. I know my answer is 60. So I can pop 60 over here onto my 10 times. And then I think to myself, if I know 10 times 6, then I know something else and I can do something to get 5. So I can go from this side and I can halve my answer. So I'm looking at, again, that's an awful, there you go. I can look at halving my answer. So 5 times 6, and I have to half 60. So I know that half of 60 is 30. And I can pop that one on my 6 times 6 over here. Okay, third colour now. I'm going to go back to those doubling and I'm going to try and work out what 3 times would be. I'm going to move the page down slightly to give me a bit more room to work. And I need to be able to work out what 3 times 6 is going to be. And I can do that quite cleverly because I've already worked out up here what 1 times 6 is. And I've already worked out what 2 times 6 is. So I can add those answers together. So 6 add 12 or 12 add 6, I know is going to be 18. And I can pop that on my fact up here on my building table. Now I can be really clever again. And if I know 3 times 6, I can work out what 6 times 6 is going to be. And again, I'm using that if I know, then I know, because I can double these answers. Now, double 18 is a little bit trickier, but if I double 8, I get 16. So I'll have my 6 in my ones column. And if I double 10, I get 20. But remember, we've got that extra one. So it would be 36. So I've doubled my answer, and I can go back to, oh, Miss Fowler's made a mistake. Who can notice the mistake Miss Fowler has made? Because I actually popped that answer in the wrong place. That should have been on my 5 times. And now my numbers will work much better when I know that 6 times 6 is 36 over here. A huge well done if you spotted that mistake, because even us adults make mistakes too. So I can make sure that it's in the right place now. Finally, if I know 3 and 6 times 6, I can double once more to work out what 12 times 6 is. And exactly the same as last time, I can double my 6, which I know is 12. So it would add me a 2 in the ones column. And double 30 would be 60, but remembering we have that extra 10 left over. So that would be a 7. So 72 I can pop over here. Excellent. So we've used adding to work out those digits, and we've doubled again down here. Okay, got a few ones left. I'm going to go straight for 0 because I know that 0 times any number is asking me, I've got no groups of them. So if I have no 6s or 0 6s, my answer is always going to be 0. So I can pop that one straight in because I know that already and I don't need to work out anything from it. But the final few, and I use this word pesky with my class, is the pesky tables. The 7, the 9, and the 11. And these can be the trickier times tables because there's no doubling I can work out, there's no halving I can work out, but I can use adding. So I don't know already from over here that 6 times 6 was 36. So if I know 6 times 6, I need to add one more lot of 6. So 6 times 6 was 36, and I'm going to add one more group of 6 on to get my 7 times 6 answer. So I know that 6 add 6 would be 12, and 3 add nothing, so add my 1 would be my 42. That's then given me my 7 times 6 answer. I can do exactly the same again from 8 up, or I could do 10 minus 1, whichever you find easiest. So because I added 1 on there, I think I'm going to do a takeaway this time. So I know that 6 times 10 was 60. And this time I'm going to take away one group of 6, which will give me the answer to 9 times 6, or 6 times 9, it can be written either way. So I'm going to do 0 take away 6. Now I can't do that, so I'm going to have to exchange and borrow from next door. 10 take away 6 is now 4. 5 take away nothing is 5, 54. And again, these ones are in the same because they're my pesky ones. Last but not least, you could do the same here. 60, add 1 would get to my next answer, because 10, add 1 more lot of 6 over here. So up here, I'm just going to do this one. 10 times 6 again was 60. And I need to add 1 more lot of 6 to give me 11 times 6. Now, we did this in my class all together, and I know with Mrs. Plews that you did this, and we can add those and get our 66. So this should be a little bit of a reminder for you. So then we've built our times tables, and we've used those different colours to show what we know and why. Okay, next part then, so the 100 square. So can you have a think of which colours would be which? So I'm going to start off for you, and know I started with 1 times 6 because it was the easiest. So I'm going to pop a red dot on there. Can you now have a go at seeing if you can put them in the different colours? And pause the video here and see if you can work out which one would be next. Okay, well done for having a go at that. I'm going to pop 6 times 2, which is 12, still in my red because I've doubled those answers. And I'm going to double it again for 24. That would be my 4 times 6, and I double it once more to get to my 48. Okay, remember the next ones we did in green. So my green was for 6 times 10. So I know 6 times 10 is 60. And then I halved that number. So I halved 60 and got to 30. Excellent, well done if you're keeping up. We then used blue on the other page. So we had 6 times 10 up here. 6 times 1 up here was 6, and 6 times 2 is 12, and we added 1 more. So I can do 1 with my blue counter, adding 1, adding 2, adding 3, 4, 5, and 6. So I've now got 3 times 6, and I can double that answer if we remember to get my 6 times 6. So if I double 18, I double my 8 to get to 16, and I double my 10, adding my 1. Showing it this way, you can kind of see a pattern emerging when you can see down some of these diagonals. And then if you remember, we did 12 times 6, so we doubled that. And this one came down to 72. Then we had our 0. Now my number square doesn't show my 0, but I am going to pop it on there because it does show that diagonal pattern for us to see. But I'm going to keep my yellow for my pesky numbers. So if you remember that we started off with our 7 times 6. So we went to 6 times 6 and we added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which gave us our 42. Then we did our going to 60, taking away 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again to our 60 and adding 6, which gave us 66. So you should be able to see those nice patterns showing our 6 times table. Hopefully they will help you to answer these questions. Can you pause the video and have a go at these in the top of your exercise book, please? Off you go. Okay, huge well done for those. 2 times 6, if we go back, we have a look at our second one, which was 12. So give yourself a tick or something in your book to show if you got that one correct. 8 times 6. Now this was one that we doubled. We started with 1, 2, 4, and 8. So it would be great if you had the answer of 48 and if you use that table to help you. And now 11 times 6, that was one of our pesky ones. But if you remember, we went to 10 times 6 first of all, which was 60, and then we added 1 more. You will also notice with our 11s that a lot of them match the same 2 digits with the question. Last but not least is our 6 times 6, and we use this one if we did 3 times 6 first of all, which was our 18, and we doubled it, we would get 36 over here. So again, a big well done if you got those right. Oh, that's actually that one up there. Okay, next one. How do we work out these questions? So it says complete the sentences. There are so many, lots of so many eggs. So we need to work out how many lots of eggs there are. So this question up here, there are how many eggs in each box? Yep, there are 6 lots of eggs. So how many lots of eggs are there? One group here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 lots of 6 eggs. So the question it's asking is 7 times 6. I wonder if you can complete what would go in here for the total and then what would be down here because it's the same number. And pause the video if you need to. Excellent, you should have worked out that 7 times 6 was 42. Okay, down here then we have our dice, like I used right at the beginning. There are 4 dice, each showing 6. Can you work out the answers here? And can you show me the other ways that you can show that? Remember our fact families, the 4 different ways of showing it. Off you go in your books. Okay, excellent. You should have worked out that 4 times 6 was our doubling pattern, 6, 12, 24. And then you should have been able to do this in the opposite ways. So 6 times 4, we know we can swap those numbers round. And then when we've got the division sign down here at the bottom, we're going to start with our 24, which was our answer. Divide by 6 equals 4. And then we can swap that round the other way as well. So 24 divided by 4 is 6. Huge well done if you got those. Last but not least, our Emmett problem. Emmett thinks that 6 times 8 is 48. Do you agree? Explain how you know. So do you agree with the way that Emmett has worked out that problem? Has he used his doubling? So we know that 8 is one of our doubled numbers. Has he got the correct answer? If you think yes, you can explain how you know. But if you don't agree with Emmett, can you explain maybe to mum or dad or whoever's with you, adult at home, or even just in your notepad, why he might be right or wrong? Excellent, well done. Okay, your task for today and for the rest of this maths lesson, if you scroll down on our daily planner, you will see that these questions are on the page for you. Now, if you can print them, fantastic, but if not, don't worry, because you can simply pop the answers into your exercise book because it doesn't take that much working. So you've got 5 do-it questions using your knowledge of your times tables. You then have your go deep. So if the answer is 54, what could the question be? And remember, you can use your multiplication symbol, or you can do your division question, just like we did in the previous dice question. And you should have 4 answers because there are 4 different ways to write it. It then asks if you can put this into a word problem. And if you know the fact above, what else do you know? Maybe it was one of our pesky answers. Maybe there's a table that you know before or afters that's easy to work out. Last but not least is your go deeper task for today then. So it's asking you to find the missing digits. Now we've done lots of these in school, and the problem at the bottom, or the main challenge, says, can you solve them in different ways? It's not just one way to answer the problem. And then, can you solve it just using these digits each once? Okay, now I'm not going to give you any help with the go deeper because I know you're brilliant. But once you've had a go at those and you've done them in your exercise book or on the sheet if you prefer to print it, make sure you send me if you're in Fairfield class, or Mrs. Stowe, or Mrs. Cross or Mrs. Clues if you're in Stowe class, so we can see how well you've got on. Then just have a think where you'd be on the knurling line. Have you found today's lesson easy? Have you found it quite tricky? Have you grown in your learning? Because remember, it's not always easy, but as long as we are trying, that's all I can ask from you. Thank you very, very much for listening to me today. Make sure you go and have a go at that if you haven't already. And I will see you tomorrow for our next maths lesson. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.